Are we on the screen?
No,
Hello?
we're not on the screen.
Oh, what happened? Hold on. Oh, I see what happened. Hi, guys! Listen, sometimes we can act like we brand new, but we're not.
Yeah, we like to go back to grade school or so.
I know. I was like, where we at? I can hear us, but I can't see us. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Sister to Sister Connection talk show. Whew. We are so excited about tonight's conversation. I had to go live before we started to broadcast because this topic tonight is going to be what I call explosive. It's going to be explosive. It's going to be confronting. I love the confronting topics that we talk about, Tawanta. I really do. And more importantly, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yes.
So, welcome everybody to the Sisters. Like I said again, welcome everybody to Sister to Sister Connection Talk Show. We believe in spirituality, stability, and sisterhood. That's what we're all about. We talk about some heavy hitting topics on this show. We talk about the obstacles, the challenges that we face as women as a whole. Okay, and we bring them to the table. We address them. We give
We
great
address it.
advice. And
Yes, Lord.
those of you who are in the community, first of all, we appreciate each and every one of you for being inside of our community because you guys also are always and forever a part of our conversations that we have. And if you're not a part of the Sister Sister Connection community, it is free. Okay, all you have to do is go to bit.ly/sister to sister connection and get inside of the community. Okay,
There you go.
so without further ado, I'm going to have Miss Tawanta Davis, Miss Jones, if you're not. Talk about tonight's topic and what we're going to be really touching on. Go ahead, sis.
So tonight, ladies, we are going to be talking about taking a break on purpose. Okay. And I don't mean like, taking a break from work, taking a break from hanging out with friends or whatever. I'm talking about taking a break on you, on
Right,
issues, on problems.
right.
And we're going to dig deep. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty. We'll get
The
to the
root of the
root
problem.
of the
Yep.
problem, of problems, I would say,
Yes.
because we do have four.
Yep.
And we're going to talk. We're going to have a real conversation. You know how we do on this show. You know how we do. We get real with it. And hopefully, honestly, that this will be, a breakthrough point for all of us. Yeah, I'm putting myself in this in as
That's
well.
right. That's right. Me too.
For all of us, so we can move forward
Uh huh.
accordingly, the way God wants us to move forward accordingly, and so we can, enjoy the benefits of what He has for us, every single day of our lives. So
That's
yeah,
right.
it's going to be an awesome topic.
That's right. And we all are not perfect. And this is why Tawanta and I bring up great topics on the show where we talk about a lot of the confronting things. And again, another week of my copy and pasting skills have gone bad. I just saw that we have four topics, but I only copied and paste three. So Therese is over there laughing. If you could put the fourth point on the banner here, so we could pull that up. But like, yeah, we have 4 points of what we call our pieces of advice. Um, Also, our confronting tips that we want to talk to you guys about tonight that I'm super duper excited about. Tawata and I meet every week about this show, and one of the things that we were talking about last night during our planning meetings for the show was each and every one of these bullet points. That we're going to be bringing up to you guys today. Without further ado, I'm going to bring up the first one while Teresa's getting that fourth one there.
Hmm.
And the first one, when it comes to taking a break on purpose,
Hmm.
is lying to yourself. Talk about that, Tawanta.
Yes, honey. Take a break from lying to yourself, period. Because we lie to ourselves all the time. We constantly say things that we really don't mean. We say things to people just to make ourselves look good or make ourselves look important. And we are, again, I say this as like I said before, we use our our life as the performance arts, center. We make this our stage. And so we go and act, we pretend that, our life is successful, our life is great, that everything is fantastic. Oh, I'm doing great. My mind is straight, this, that, or whatever the case may be. But when you leave off that stage and you start heading to your home or behind those closed doors, that's when hell is breaking loose for you. And you just really you're tormented, you're depressed, you're angry, you're hurt, you whatever, you camouflaging. You camouflaging, what you've been hiding all this time. And a lot of us as women, and this is a generational pattern, to be truthful and honest about it, because when I was growing up, I saw a lot of my friends and family, lied to themselves all the time. They pretend, they lied to people and have people to believe that, oh, my life is great, my marriage is great, my kids is this, or my job is that. But at the end of the day, I hear through the grapevine and conversations with the adults, it's totally different. You know what I mean? I can't hear you, mama.
Sorry about that. I was on mute. Yeah, and we grow up mimicking that pattern because I have seen
Right.
that with both my parents, where it was sort of like, you know, it was like, don't, whatever happens in the household, keep it in the household. Or I would see my mom
Yes.
pretend over here, but then once she gets home, it's different. And
Yeah.
I think it was like 6 years ago, a pastor, I forgot his name, I'm so sorry, but he said something on one of his sermons, and he was talking about it's a good thing to sometimes bring up debates to your children and to not try to hide things and pretend things are so perfect because you're actually traumatizing them.
Mhm.
And, I was probably one of the only people in the room that understood what he said about
Mhm.
the fact that sometimes we are not exposing too much. We're actually handicapping our children and making them, and then when those issues do come up in their
Mhm.
relationship, in their business, in their life, in their job, they don't know how to handle it because they didn't see their parents learn how to handle it. So
Mhm.
I think that's important. I feel like, especially us as black people, we don't talk about money, we don't talk about things, conversations that we should bring up in the household, and so that way the children can be more aware of things. I feel like when we say, oh, let's not discuss the fact that we have money issues, or let's not discuss the fact that we have marriage issues or issues at our jobs or things like that, so that way we don't bring it home, or we don't hurt the kids, or we don't make them worry. But sometimes it's not always good to hide things or to be lying, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because then they
Mhm.
know, kids are smart, people around you, they're smart, they know what's going on, they know that there's a shift that happens. And I know for a fact, when it comes to lying to yourself in the
Mhm.
entrepreneur space, I've have battled for years with the person that I'm trying to become and the person that
Yes.
I was. It's still to this day. A lot of times it's that everyday battle of when, like, you're paying this sort of tag team with yourself, and you're
Mhm.
like, am I going to respond to this issue being the woman that I was yesterday, or I'm going to respond to this issue or this matter or this challenge to the woman I want to be 10 years from now. And that's
Right.
is always that sense of back and forth when it comes to emotion with yourself. And this guy named Alex Sharfin, I follow him from time to time. He did a live the other day. He talked about the trauma of business, how we as entrepreneurs, we do go through a lot of trauma because everything that we do is based off of mindset. We can't do
Mhm.
nothing without having the proper mindset, you know?
Mhm. And let me ask you this question. This is a general question.
Yeah.
Why do we as women lie to ourselves on a consistent basis? What is it about us that we have to, pretend? Or I won't even say pretend. Why do we make it a daily
Well, it's two
habit?
things. Either they don't want to deal with conflict,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
they are want to be play it safe. You know,
Mm.
I know me
Hmm.
personally. I used to, in the beginning of my business, I used to lie a lot or hide my business because I didn't want to have to deal with, my partner telling me, "Oh, you're always on your laptop all the time. You always this." So the minute I would hear him come in the house, I would just shut
Hmm.
down my computer. I would just, go in the living room, play with the
Mm.
kids, cook, clean, whatever, whatever. And so I just didn't want to deal with that confronting behavior, have to
Gotcha.
explain myself or defend. So that's one spectrum. Then you have the other spectrum of people like to be comfortable. It's like what you and I
Mm.
talked about this last night.
Yeah.
How I had a potential client who was ready to move forward, but she said, "Okay, I'm just going to wait on God." And I was like, "You're lying right now, because that's not really what the issue at hand. The really issue at hand is you are afraid to move forward, and you just lying to yourself, and you're trying to play safe and play the
Mhm.
God card, which a lot
Yeah.
of women do in this
Oh
business
my
world.
gosh, yeah.
They play that God
Absolutely.
card, knowing that they're just using that just for another reason for them to procrastinate for another day and another day, and then the day turns to a week turns into a month turns into years.
Exactly, exactly. You just and you hit the nail right there.
Yeah,
It's fear based. Is
yeah,
basically what it is. It's fear based. We as women, we are afraid to step forward and to really do the things that we know that we're talented to do.
absolutely, absolutely.
We're very gifted and talented to do, but we just refuse to move. And
Yeah.
so we cover up ourselves. When people say, "Girl, why you didn't start your business? Why didn't you do the?" And you be like, "Oh, because my husband. Oh, because God did
Mm-hmm.
not reveal it to me."
Yeah. Yep.
That kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
God had revealed it to you before you even came out your mama's womb. It was already
Yes.
embedded in you.
Absolutely. Or I
You
hear
know what
on
I
the
mean?
other side of people saying, "Well, I've been burnt before and this that." I'm
Yeah.
a firm
Right.
believer that you project who you are.
Yeah.
If you're a
Yeah.
100% transparent person, if you're a go getter, if you're an action taker, God will surround more of those people around you than the ones around you who are going to do negative things. And even with that, God would use those negative situations or challenges to teach you something. So when I hear people say, "Oh, I had a coach," or "I worked with somebody, I didn't get what was expected," what did you learn from that? What did you
Hmm.
take from that? Did that person have bad communication? So what you
Hmm.
need to do is say,
Hmm.
"Okay, I'm going to make sure that if I start working with people, this is how I'm going to communicate. I'm going to get back to people right away. I'm not going to leave an email going for weeks and weeks and weeks without a response. Or I'm going to be more communicative about my services." You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
another aspect of it. And even for those of you who are course creators and service providers, don't take this mess from people just because a client is paying you. Doesn't mean you have to take
Right.
their attitude. Doesn't mean you have to take them taking advantage of you, because that's what really is not talked about. There's more clients that will sit there and talk badly about a coach, but really us coaches and service providers, we need to start putting on the forefront out there and talk about how much of these clients are out there not paying us when they say they're going to pay us, or out there saying, or out there not showing up for class like they said they was going to show up for class. There's more of that than there are bad coaches out there,
Right.
period.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so it's like y'all are out there talking about this, that, and the third, but what have you been projecting to get that back? I had to let go of a client just recently. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to come and say here what it was for, but it was always that sense of questioning the attitude, the disrespectful behavior towards my team. I mean,
Right.
so many different variables, and a lot of times these clients think, well, she needs the money, so I'm just going to act the way I want to act. But regardless of the fact is, I don't care if those of you out there, I don't care if you really are in desperate need of that money from that client. You need to move on, X that client out, so that way you can focus on getting better clients. Because these clients, sometimes they do lie to themselves. They do say, "Yeah, I want to start, I want to get things going," but when all reality happens, they're behind on their payments, or they don't show up for a meeting, or they're always canceling on you all the time. It's always something, but let you do something, one thing wrong, it's like they want to go all over the place and have private groups about you and talk about you online, all these different things. And I'm just like, listen, stay true and transparent to who you are at the
Yeah.
end of the day. Don't be afraid of, don't just lie to yourself and say, "Well, I'm just going to keep this client. I'm going to keep being, you know, disrespected." You know what I'm
And
saying?
I
So,
call that insanity too, because
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
insanity.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, covering one lie after the next, and you overwhelming yourself. And I go back to this again, ladies. You have to understand how this is, this is really deteriorating your character.
That's right.
Now, if
That's right.
somebody boldly said this to you, girl, you ain't nothing but a liar. You ready to punch that girl in her face.
Exactly. That's
You know
true.
what I mean? But you are presenting yourself as such because you are not taking ownership to your responsibilities. You're not taking ownership to your words, and
Hmm.
and you are really lying to you first before you are actually lying to that person who you said that you were going to do what you said you were going to do, and
That's
you didn't
right.
mean.
And to piggyback off of your question that you said before about
Hmm.
why do women lie to themselves, I think it's
Yeah,
also a lot of they don't know who they are.
exactly.
You know what
They
I'm
don't.
saying? They
A
don't know
lot of them
who they
don't.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get to
That's the
know you
sad
more.
part.
Spend that alone time more. Get out of
Hmm.
your current of this is what has helped me get to know who I am more is attending like retreats and masterminds and things like that where I was away from the kids, away from the husband, just sort of had the opportunity to just focus on me. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
I think that's always the best part because we as women, we were taught, I know me personally was taught, don't be selfish. So having that
Right,
sense of self
right,
worth was hard for me personally to gravitate and learn because I'm like, okay, if I focus on myself, then I'm being selfish. So I'm going to
right.
lie to myself and pretend that I want to do for people more than I do for me. You know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep. All right. You want to go to the next point, Tawata?
Yes, I do.
Let's go to the next point. I'm going to have you kick that off, sis. Yes.
What's number two? What's number
What's
two? Let me
number
find it.
two, Trees? Let's pull it up. And I'm just sending this link out. Somebody's asking for the link to the live. So I'm going to send that over.
Well, I have it right here. For the next one is called I said pretending your life is spotless. So take
Yes.
a break
Yes.
on that. Take a break on pretending your life is spotless because there's a
Yes.
lot of women out there that, oh my gosh, you are presenting yourself like your life is golden, it is sweet, it is picture perfect, and that everything is going grand, everything is going great. And it's, and at the end of the day, there's my sister. Hey, Roz. That's my daughter's godmother.
Oh my God. Hi.
Hey, honey. But yeah, girl, you just messed me up. Okay.
She just
But
took
I'm
you
glad
off
you're here.
focus.
Oh, this is
Does she
awesome.
live in Michigan as well?
No, she's in New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey. Yes.
Yeah, so she's
Yes.
your neighbor.
Oh, great. Great. Happy to see you on.
Yes, but as I was saying in regards to how a lot of women, you pretend your life is so, perfect and is so intact,
Yep.
that you don't have issues, or you're so caught up with your success of life that
Yep.
everything is this peachy king, but in reality it's messed up.
Yep.
It's destructive. There's a
Right.
show on Fox that just came out. It's called My Kind of People.
Oh, yes.
It's an
Yes.
all black cast, and it's a
Yes.
phenomenal show. I like the show
Uh
personally,
huh. Uh huh.
and it doesn't hold nothing back. It actually really reveals the
Yep.
true reality of our own kind of people,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know and you have like the haves and the have nots kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibe going on, where you
Mm-hmm.
have this young lady's trying to get her dream out, and this, that, whatever, and find out that that other sister, that woman is her half sister, and
Yep.
that half sister, she's pretending her life is spotless,
Yep.
everything is glam, all of this stuff, but behind all of that glam is chaos.
Yep.
It's a lot of craziness going on.
Mm-hmm.
And ladies, we got to stop lying again. And this is part of lying to
Yes, it
yourself.
is. Yeah, because you're trying to hold
It
that
really
up.
is.
If you're trying
Oh
to
yeah.
live this, I'm totally
Oh
spotless.
yeah.
I'm without any bruising. I'm without any issues. I'm without anything. That's a lot to carry.
Ooh, that's a lot to
Because you're
get.
basically saying I'm going to pretend to be somebody else totally different than
Mm,
yourself, And I
yeah.
feel like and I always reference the business world, the entrepreneurship world, because that's the
Hmm.
world I'm in every day. When I see a lot of women pretending that they're totally spotless, it's like those are the ones that's so hard to get to know and realize that you need help in your business. You
Hmm.
cannot get far in your business unless you have a
Yeah.
team, unless you have help, unless you have assistance. You can't do it by yourself.
Hmm.
And I see a lot
Yeah.
of solopreneurs out there, and they're glorifying that, and
Hmm.
they're notice it, and they're presenting it as if I do everything by myself and I have all corners met. But then on the back end, it's like their clients are not being taken care of. They're not making as
Right.
much money as they're saying they're making. They're
Hmm.
overwhelmed. They're missing huge opportunities to be on PR, to be on TV shows, to be in publications, things like
Hmm.
that. And it's
Hmm.
like, girl, I always say what I hate, the things I hate doing in my business all the
Mhm.
time. I say
Mhm.
this is what I don't like to do. This is because I outsource this, and this is what I love to do, and this is the only thing I love to do. So
Right.
it's just like, it's okay to have spots on you. It's okay. It's like that
Yeah.
makes you so transparent. That makes you.
Mhm.
We started this
Mhm.
show, right, Tawanta, being
Mhm.
totally transparent, not coming on here saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna teach you." Like I'm gonna teach you how to have thriving marriage. Like I see so many women, especially Black women, do that where they
Mhm.
come on like they're out. There's one lady I used to follow. She's like, "Yeah, I got a husband now, and I'm gonna teach y'all single women how to get a man and all this other stuff." I'm like, "Girl, you've been divorced 3 times, okay?" No shade. But girl,
Mhm.
don't try to
Mhm.
act like things are perfect, because just tomorrow you could end up, and I tell people this all the time about marriage. I said, if you're going to get married, and people ask me advice about marriage because I've been married for almost 20 years.
Mhm.
When they say, well, what's your biggest advice? I said, you have to be more in love with the foundation of what marriage means
Mhm.
than your partner. You got to be more
Mhm.
in love with what marriage represents than
Mhm.
your partner, because there are going to be days you're not going to love your partner, you're not going to like your partner, you're not,
Mhm.
you can, you know,
Yeah.
it's just that's
Yeah.
what
You're right.
happens. But
You're
when you
right.
are in love with the foundation of marriage
Yeah.
and what it represents and the
Mhm.
union that it brings,
Yeah.
that's what's going to keep you in it. But if you
Mhm.
just like, I married him because I love him, okay, but what's going to happen, year 12.
Right. Right. Mhm.
Okay, y'all have
Mhm.
a he loses his job, or these men be having midlife crisis as well. You
Sure.
know,
Sure.
you gotta say,
Mhm.
I don't like him.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like, what's gonna
Mhm.
happen then? Because
Mhm.
love
Mhm.
does sort of fades. It never goes away, but it does fade sometimes, or it's so far that you like, I don't even wait, do I see it still? Oh, okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's what I always tell people. So when people try to act like they're spotless, my relationship is spotless, my
Right.
business is spotless, I'm spotless. This is like, I used to have an aunt that was like that, where her kids were so
Mm.
perfect, but no,
Mm.
they do use the substances. They're in jail. Like, it's like,
Right. Right. Right.
girl,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah, and and I'm piggyback on what you said about where sisters really don't know themselves.
mm-hmm, right,
That because their identity has been warped for
mm-hmm,
so long
mm-hmm,
that they're confused at this
mm-hmm.
point. They really don't know where to, because some sisters you hear in conversations, it's like, well, I don't know what I like about myself, or I don't
Exactly. I
know.
was there too at one point.
Yeah, I was too. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know where to begin. I
That's
don't know.
scary.
That is scary. That
Mm-hmm.
is scary. And for some women, they drown in that fear,
Exactly.
and that's why they come to this position to do the things they do.
Mm-hmm.
By lying to themselves, lying to people, and then they got to protect that lie by building another lie.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing the mask, as my sister Ross was just saying, they're
Mm-hmm.
wearing this
Mm-hmm.
mask every day,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know from reality from fiction,
Yeah,
because
it's that virtual reality that's going to become more prevalent. Like
yeah.
you and I discussed this yesterday. I really feel large amount of fear for the children coming up, because they're
Hmm.
so involved on social media. I pick up my kids from school every day, and I see everyone's head is always down into their phone, even when they're crossing the street. That's the worst thing to do here in the city. But
Yeah.
how this whole virtual reality, where you can just create something that's so not you, and
Hmm. Hmm.
how there's if they don't get a like on a post, they feel bad about their own self-esteem, or it's all of that, and to the point where they don't know how to be social or even sit and watch a movie for longer than 5 minutes.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
it's like, I
Yeah.
really like parents out there, if you don't get your children to understand self-worth and what that means and what that looks like, and how you have to now defend that, because now you're going to
Hmm.
have so many people like,
Hmm.
oh, I follow this singer, so we need to look like her, I want to get surgery done, I want to get this. Like, it's all these things that they're seeing and they're exposed to.
Yeah.
We don't
Hmm.
know where they're going to
Hmm.
end up
Hmm.
you know
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and we see it all. I mean, just about everywhere now.
hmm
And thank God for the training where we came from.
yeah, yeah,
Thank God for our parents, or or our nanas, or whoever that was in our life
right.
that really poured into us to
Yeah,
teach
because
us
we
the
grew up in the
value.
neighborhood where you went out and you saw real
Right.
people. and you
Yeah.
actually communicate face to face with people.
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
not to say
Mhm.
that these children or these people are not talking to real individuals, but you could talk to somebody, don't even know if that's really even the person. Like, that's why Catfish, that show Catfish, blew up, because there were
Mhm.
so many people
Mhm.
creating this alternate virtual reality where they're tricking other people, people assuming that they're somebody that they're not. So it's just
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
it's such
Mhm.
a scary space,
It really
that these
is.
children are sort of fellowshipping in.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Like when I
Yeah.
grew up, we had church twice a week. We we came home from school, as long as we did our homework, we got to play outside. Like, we always saw a physical person. There was no hiding anything. It was like,
Right.
girl,
Mhm.
like, I
Mhm.
know who you are, I know who your parents are, I know who your grandparents are. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Absolutely. I mean, that's how I was raised too, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, where it was the community was family at that
Yeah.
time. You know what
Big
I mean?
time.
And I had, my cousins, not my blood related cousins, but we were so tight that we were family. We
That's
we
right.
we were cousins.
Yep.
And I had people that was like my auntie, that, educated me, disciplined me
Yep.
as
Yep.
well, and that training helped me a lot
Yeah.
to become the woman that I am today.
It
And then,
did.
of course, I'm teaching that to my daughters as well, But of course, you
Yeah,
got
I
this
mean, we're in a
technology.
space now where people are afraid to say anything.
Oh yeah.
There
Oh
we
God,
are.
yeah.
We're in a space where people are so afraid to even say their opinion about things and say, listen, like,
Right,
I know,
right.
like, girl, you can do what you want, but, this is how I feel about that. People are
Hmm.
afraid because they're afraid of, you may lose your job, or you may stop, that person may stop talking to you, and all these other things. I mean, it's so touchy where you can't really be open, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that this is helping you ladies out there, those of you who are watching us,
Yeah.
to really just, do a self-evaluation. I think we as women, we need to start making that a daily habit of doing a self-evaluation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can just go ahead and be honest with ourselves,
That's
start
right.
being honest with ourselves, and just, lay it out there. And you say, okay, God, I realize I have issues with this. I have a
Yep.
problem with that. My insecurity level is really down to one.
Yeah.
But when I get on them streets, or when I get on social media, I just put on the mask and I'm like, hey,
Exactly. I mean,
world,
I know for
you
me, what has
know,
helped me on social media is being comfortable with being imperfect, and knowing that with
right.
my imperfections, I'm growing and building on that. So really, the only
Yes,
person I feel ever
yes.
that I'm in competition with is with myself. So being comfortable with being imperfect. If you could only go
Mm-hmm.
live in your car, go live in your car. If you could only, you want to lose weight, and all you can do for the next 30 days is
Mm-hmm.
just work out for 10 minutes, then do it. It's like,
Yeah, yeah,
and after a while,
yeah.
you're going to start to realize that, like Tawanta's word, you're going to build more resilience. You're going to be more
Mm-hmm.
stronger. Then you're going
Mm-hmm.
to, it's like my youngest daughter. It's like
Mm-hmm.
she started crawling, then she started walking, and the
Yeah.
further she got, she fell, but she was like, oh, I can go from here all the way to over here.
Mhm.
So you thinking as a child, like, oh my God, there's this whole new world on the other side of the house that I can get
Yes.
to by
Right.
myself. And so,
Right.
in a matter of a month, she's like running around
And our kids
everywhere.
have the resilient spirit in
Yes, they
them, and
do.
they don't even know what that means.
They
But
don't
they
let
just
their
get
they
up
don't
and they
let the
just go.
pain stop them.
They don't.
I fell. I'm
They
in pain,
don't.
but I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, they
They
fall
don't
and
let
they
it
boom
stop
boom
them.
and they get right back up and start
That's
walking
it.
again.
We let, as
Anytime.
we become adults, we let pain stop us. We let it. We just,
And
oh,
I wonder why. That's the key question. Why do we allow pain to stop us?
right. That's a great question. I think it's different. The answer is definitely different for everyone.
It
That's what I
is.
think. I
That
do
is the
think it's
truth.
different, and I
Because
think,
everybody's pain is different. The
right. But you
level
got
of
to put it
pain, the
out there on the
intensity.
table. Yeah.
Yes.
It goes back to, I even shared this on the show, how for years I wouldn't really buy stuff for myself, and it came
Mm-hmm.
from when I spent like 200 something dollars on myself one day, and my mom was like, "Why you spend all that money on yourself?" And I ended up returning all the clothes the next day. It's
Mm-hmm.
for me, my self worth started at that moment. It didn't start when I was 9. It started when I was like 21. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's always something. But again, that was me. But for you guys watching, talk about something that, a moment where you had fear and then you just stopped. or you had some form of trauma, you said, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. That's a sign, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I think that and it, it starts, yeah, when we're like in our teens,
All
because
the
we
way
still,
into adulthood.
yeah,
Yeah,
early adulthood. But then for a lot of us, it still carries on in our
it does.
30s and 40s
It
and
does.
beyond,
And you're grown by then, but still, you
Yeah, you
still have those
seasoned.
stigmas. Yeah, you still have those stigmas. You still have that trauma is in your
Right,
mind. Yeah,
right.
words are power.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. What's going on with number three?
Let's bring up number three. What it will be?
Woo!
Uh,
Yes,
false
yes.
advertising your brand. You.
You need to break from false advertising your brand. That is
That's
you,
right.
honey.
That's
Again,
right.
it's all about your character. It's
Mhm.
all about what you put out before the audience, which
Mhm.
is the public, which is
Mhm.
the world, which is social media. You present people with this false advertisement, and then when people really see who you really are, they're like, okay, well, I want my money back. Or,
That's right. That's
I
right.
invested my time,
Mhm.
I invested my commitment, I
Mhm.
invested all of this, and this is who you really are, you
That's
know?
right.
No
That's
different
right.
than how we see things on television and they keep promoting it and pumping it and pumping it.
Mhm.
We be like, oh, that looks so good. Oh, that
Spot
looks
on.
so interesting. And then when we finally go ahead and submit to that temptation, we order it, we get it, and then it's just a piece of garbage.
That's right. That's
You
right. And
know?
another spectrum I want to add to this, Tawanta, is
Yes.
sometimes you guys are false advertising with your pricing. I don't. Every day I do this. Every day, every time I'm launching something, I'm like, Tisha, you know that's worth more than what you putting on that page.
That's true. That's true.
That's a form of false advertising because you are lowballing, low charging yourself, and dealing with the caliber of
Yeah.
individuals that are not going to appreciate it. Because I'm telling you, pricing is all about the caliber of individuals that you want to attract. Because I
Yeah.
always say I
Yeah.
have the best team on the internet, but if I'm charging these low poil prices, I'm gonna get individuals that are not gonna
Right.
appreciate. I'm gonna get the wrong crowd. I'm gonna get individuals that don't know appreciate the art of investing, or the art of taking action and things like that. And another side of it, I want to say too, is that if you know that you provide a result for somebody, because I have tons of testimonials all over YouTube,
Hmm.
but if you know you provide a result for somebody, you have another person come along and say, well, girl, this person over here charges this. Defend your brand.
Right. Right.
Okay?
Right.
Coca-Cola will always defend Coca-Cola. Louis Vuitton will always defend Louis Vuitton. Defend your brand.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
Point
Right.
blank.
Right. Right.
Period.
And ladies, we have to stop. We got to be careful with how we market
That's
ourselves.
true.
We
Mm-hmm.
really, really do. Because, again, let's go back to, these, what do you call those type of commercials, and like what do you call those things? Anyway, it's a commercial.
Yep.
But there was one particular commercial that was very popular, and that commercial will normally come on like after 10 p.m. in the midnight hour, whatever, and he was promoting those pillows.
Oh, yes. Is the guy with the beard?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, the mustache. I'm sorry. I'm
With the
thinking the
mustache,
mustache. Yeah.
yes, the
The
mustache.
mustache. Yeah.
Yes. And he was promoting. He was talking about how that pillow can be so, such a blessing in your life for your health and all of these
I
things.
didn't
And
buy the pillow.
people bought the pillow, but then after a while, stuff was coming out about
Yeah.
people
Oh, I
false
hate that.
advertising it, and
I
that
hate that.
that this pillow was just nothing but a piece of whatever.
Ooh.
And he had to defend himself. He had to
That's right.
defend his brand,
That's right.
and I don't know at the end of the day, if he, actually admit that what he promoted was not
Mm-hmm.
fact. It
Mm-hmm.
was just, just up branding himself, or
Yeah.
whatever the
Yeah.
word is,
Yeah.
or that, he stood by what he said. It was just the
Exactly.
people just did not, you know, see it that way.
Right. Right.
So, but it cost him. It
Mm-hmm.
cost money. It
Mm-hmm.
cost his integrity. It cost people to look at him differently. He
Right.
lost a lot of, I'm pretty sure he lost some money,
That's
and I'm
right.
pretty sure he lost, that leverage, or that support system. So
Right.
back to us as females, we got to be careful what we put out there, because
Yep.
that false advertisement, it could jeopardize your career, it could
Yep.
jeopardize your relationship, it could jeopardize, your integrity,
Yep.
your character, it can mess you up. Now,
Yeah,
of
you're
course,
gonna have to start over from scratch, or not
that's what I was about
even.
to say. You can't start from the bottom,
Yeah.
but it's going to take some time, to get back. But when you get back, you won't be where you were before.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be even
Mm-hmm.
better, because
Yep.
this time, if you have any common sense in you, which I know you do,
Yep.
you will put God first and let Him allow you, order your steps
That's
accordingly.
right. That's right. Yeah,
Simple as
you're
that.
totally right, and it's all of that. It's that the thing is, I feel like, especially in the business world, people are more thinking about the money versus the impact,
Mhm.
and also when it comes to being somebody that's not you, or of
Right,
course
right.
advertising what you're doing, where you fall so in love with the money than you do with
Hmm.
reputation. Reputation for
Yeah.
me is big, and granted, you can't please everybody. Let me just be clear:
Mm-mm.
you're not always going to have individuals that are going to support, understand, or even care for what you do. But for each and every person that you do touch, and the person that that really wants to get a transformation from you,
Mhm,
you want
mhm.
to give them their all. Because I'm gonna be totally honest, like that's always the one thing that I try to combat, is when a potential client comes to me and say, well, I work with this person and I paid her and I didn't get this, or I work with that
Yeah,
person and I didn't pay her.
yeah.
And we're always saying, well, I'm different from that. I'm defending the fact that how different I am from anything else that you have purchased before. Now I just stopped doing it. I'm like, girl, okay, if you want to still stay in that trauma, then stay in that trauma, girl. Okay.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Okay, hey Michelle Bowman, how are you,
Leadership.
sis? If you want to stay in that trauma, stay in that trauma, because we all have been hurt. We've been hurt in relationships that
Right.
they don't keep you stopped from dating these men. Okay,
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
okay, you still be going
mm-mm.
out on dates with them, buying them
Mhm.
Christmas presents, Valentine presents, and things like that. So
Right.
if you can learn the fact that, give people the opportunity to show you who they are, and
Mhm.
if they are not who they are, you gotta learn how to walk away. That's the biggest decision that we have, right? If
Yeah.
somebody false advertises something, okay, this is not what I expected. I'm going to move on now. I'm gonna learn what
Yeah.
I need to learn, and I'm just going to walk away. Yeah.
And how many times we have heard in conversations with females, up against each other, it's like, you ain't nothing but a fake.
Uh huh.
You ain't
Yeah.
no- you ain't real. How many times we have heard that down through the
All the
years in
time.
conversations, right? And then
All the
that
time.
female will take offense to that.
Mhm.
But that person she has some, some foundation on what she just said, right? And then of course that person has to try to cover up herself, protect herself from her lies of whatever, that she's been false advertising to the world,
Mhm.
or to society, or what have you. Ladies, you could change the whole game
You can.
just by being yourself.
That's right. I there was
You
this lady I
Yeah.
was she was like this weave master lady, and she was selling like wigs and stuff. And come to find out, her wigs wasn't made here. Like people would just say, people would eventually find out. I mean, I don't know
Mhm.
why
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
just continue to do certain things that they do, but it is what it
Mhm.
is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. I
Mhm.
mean, again, we just have to learn how to just be yourself.
That's right.
Start loving yourself. Love your imperfections, love your scars,
Mhm.
love the discolorations of your life.
That's right.
Just be honest with yourself.
Mhm.
That's this is plain and simple.
Yeah, and love who you are,
Love
at
yourself.
wherever you're
Yes.
at in your life right now.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
work up from there.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I feel like the reason why that's always an issue for most women is that you're around other women who are not doing that. I think that's the biggest thing.
That is true
Yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah. Maybe
Mm.
you're around some women who are not loving who they are and not being transparently themselves and things like that. So,
That's the truth.
yeah,
That's the truth.
let's
What's
look at
number
the fourth
four?
one. Let's look at number four. So number four
Mm-hmm.
is working your mouth, not your actions.
Woo!
Girl, I'm gonna let you kick that off first, honey. I have a lot to say about that.
Yes, darlings, we need to take a break from working our mouth because we talk too darn much. And when we talk too much, we get ourselves in trouble.
Yep,
We exercise our mouth and our tongue 24/7,
yep,
but we do not put that much time and energy and devotion and commitment in our actions.
that's right.
And it is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible,
Mm-hmm.
right? We quick to go ahead and talk the game, but we don't know how to handle when we lose the game.
That's
And
right.
so we definitely need to know that we gotta shut up sometimes.
You
Ladies, we
have
gotta
to.
learn to shut your mouths.
You gotta
Period.
shut up and you gotta get moving. It's like,
Period.
and like I said, I deal with this in the business world where I told the client, like, you gotta get out there and promote yourself. I have to get out there and do the work. Yes. Nobody's going to just, you're talking all these things you want to do, but you
Yeah.
don't want to get out there and do it. It's like, take action. That's what people are really judging.
Right.
They judging how much you show up. They judging how committed you are. They
Yeah.
judging how much you're so in love with what you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
what really they're
Mm-hmm.
judging.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing
Mm-hmm.
else. And it's just like, if you're sitting back and all you are is a talker, that's all you
Yeah.
do is talk, 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 talk. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm
Yeah.
thinking about.
Right.
This is what my
Right.
goal is. But you're not putting no gas behind that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And more
Mm-hmm.
importantly, you're not putting no gas. Like, I put gas behind everything I do, even when I fall flat on my face. It's like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna get up, learn from it, dust off, and keep moving.
Right.
So I always ask people all the
Right.
time, but what is the big picture goal? Because if you're just in this to make money, girl, I'm not gonna. You're not gonna be in it forever. Trust and
Mm-hmm.
believe you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Are you just in it to look good for somebody else?
That's
Or are
it.
you really in something because you want to be healthy, or you really want to in something you want to really because you really want to impact people? Like, what is the goal? What is the goal?
Right. Right. And I mean, and this is a constant habitual problem.
Yeah,
It really is in our culture.
yeah, it is. It
We
is.
constantly talk, 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 but majority of us do not walk it.
Yeah.
We do not strut it as we should. We pretend like we know where we're going, but we lost.
Yeah.
We going round in circles because
Yep.
we don't have a plan.
Yep.
We haven't set up anything.
Yep.
We just want people to believe that, oh, I got my life in order, everything's
Mhm.
in check, that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you just don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know
Mhm.
how to start
You're
over.
so indecisive, indecisive, and
Very
your indecisiveness
indecisive.
is keeping you from taking some action and really changing your whole life.
And your
Yeah.
kids watching you.
Yes, they do. Every day.
Because believe it or
Every
not,
day.
your kids will come back and they will requote what you said.
Exactly. Exactly.
They were
Exactly.
like, well, mom, you said that you were going to pick me up, or you
Mhm.
said you were going to do this, but now you change your mind, you know,
Mhm.
because why? And then, of course,
Mhm.
we as parents, we going to go ahead and get beside ourselves because, we want to abuse that titleship as a parent. It's like, you don't tell me what to do. Shut up. No, you wrong. You
Because
wrong.
in the past, I mean, listen, we've dealt with that trauma growing up.
Yes,
I
we
remember
did.
hearing my parents say, "Do what I say, not what I do," and
Right,
it's like,
right.
what? Now, like, that makes no sense. You can't say that anymore now, because it's like, how can I do what you say but not what you do? I'm learning from what you
Mm.
do.
Because see, the thing is, they know that they're not being honest with themselves either.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
That's the key thing. But they don't
Mm-hmm.
want to admit that, and they're not going to tell you that.
Mm-mm.
So they
Mm-mm.
got to go ahead and put on that parent role and say something that is so stupid.
Yep.
But as kids, we don't know no better. We just go ahead and take that threat and keep it moving.
Yeah, who's gonna really,
Debate, you know?
debate or hold them so accountable to where they
Right.
have to, readily admit, like, oh God, like, because I feel like when you're a parent and you apologize to your child,
Hmm.
I think that's an amazing thing to do. Because there's
Yeah.
times where I'll make mistakes and I'm like, you know what, Aurora, I'm sorry I said that. That was
Hmm.
wrong. To
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
allow your kids
Me
to see
too.
how you admit your wrongdoing, and then they grow up and they admit their wrongdoing. It's like this. I used to watch Marriage of Huntsville or whatever, and I can't watch it no more because that one of the
Mhm.
husbands on there, he really triggers me because he's very much so a narcissist.
Mm,
And there was one
yeah.
episode where his mom stepped into an argument that he was having with his ex-wife, and she's like, "Stop
Mm,
picking on my son," and I'm just like, "Oh my God, that's where it came from, her." Because she
mm.
never allowed her son to be in the wrong. She never allowed her son to really not just be held accountable.
Wow. Right,
So
right,
it's just like
right.
we need to really sit back and say, you know what? We need to stop
Mm.
raising manipulators, raising narcissists, and really say, you know what?
Yes.
And even being that within ourselves, because we as
Right.
parents, we're not always right. We're
We're
not always
not.
right.
Oh, we're
We're
not,
not. There
sisters. Do
is
you
no
hear
course.
us? You
Yeah.
ain't right all the time.
We're not right all the time, and nor do we want to be. I learn a lot from my kids, honey. I do.
Y'all
I learn
see
a lot.
me?
Yes. I learn a lot from them. I'm like, okay, you done school mommy. I got you. Okay.
Yes, it's the truth. We as moms, you know what? There is no book out there that can teach us how to
It's
be
none.
be a good parent.
It's the book of real life
It is.
experiences, real
And
life
God is the one
everything.
that can teach us. He could show us.
Yeah,
And even with that, we sometimes still mess that up.
we do. We do mess it up very regularly and very, very
And
well.
let me
So it's
say this
yeah.
too.
Go ahead.
Please, parents, stop hiding or packaging your past from
Yes,
your kids.
yes, yes,
Please open up that box and tell
yes.
them the things that you used to do
That's right.
when you were 16, when you
Yep,
were 13, even when you were 21,
yep.
what you did in college in that dorm, when you invited that boyfriend in your dorm, when you weren't
Ooh, girl,
allowed to do stuff.
Twanta, don't do
Come
that.
on.
Don't do that.
I mean, I'm saying if you want to work your mouth in a positive way and
Exactly. You're
tell
right.
your child the truth about the life that you
Mm-hmm.
experienced and
Mm-hmm.
stop sugarcoating all this mess, man.
That's
I
right.
mean, you gotta be real with it. Because we got these passive parents. I love you, but I don't care now. You got these passive parents. They're like, oh, they're young. They gotta learn. Yeah, they
Yep.
gotta learn, but you also gotta let them know the restrictions.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
They gotta understand that there's consequences to their actions, to their
Mm-hmm.
behavior, to the things that they do that that you got away with.
That's
But
right.
that was in a different time set, a different period, okay? Different
Mm-hmm.
generation. This time, this is a whole different war game we dealing with right now,
That's
baby.
right. That's right. Amen.
Okay. And just like Letitia was saying about how our kids are so caught up in the social media world out here now that they so glued to it, it's hard to even communicate with the kids
Exactly.
nowadays.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So we
Exactly.
as parents, we gotta shut up and we gotta put up. We
Mm-hmm.
gotta open up our mouths to speak truth and not speaking garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start funkying up the whole entire atmosphere
Mm-hmm.
with your no action self. You
Yep.
gotta open up your mouth and be honest and not talking garbage all the time.
That's
Own
right.
up to your womanhood, child.
Mm-hmm.
Own up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Michelle, stop with the secrets and let your children know the
That's
truth.
right. That's right.
It's just
Because
it.
what happens is when they see a life changing episode happen, they're like, what happened? Like it's like when you let's say if you get a divorce and
Mhm,
they in their minds what you presented to them was like
mhm.
everything was great, y'all get along, y'all
Right.
keep your
Yeah.
arguments behind closed doors,
Yeah.
and then they're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
why are we living one weekend with daddy, one weekend with mommy, whatever, and they see that life changing that's so traumatizing. It is.
It
Or
is
they see
very
you. What
traumatizing.
really was traumatizing for me is like my mom was always the type of person that she would always start something, you don't finish it. So like one
Mhm.
time she was going back to school, and then after a month she just saw her at the house. I'm like, Mom, are you gonna go to school? Are you gonna go
Yeah.
back? Are you gonna go to college today? No, no,
Yeah.
no. Like that was traumatizing. Wait a minute,
Mhm. Mhm.
you just made a commitment and you stopped. So in
Right.
that moment,
Mhm.
like obviously I didn't pick up on that because my dad was always the type of person that did what start
Mhm.
something and he'll just finish it through all the way.
Mhm. Mhm.
But how many times we as parents do that when we say, "Well, this is what I'm going to do, son or daughter,"
Yeah,
and
I'm
then you don't
guilty.
follow through with it. It's just like they see you do that, and then they go through life think, "Well,
Yeah.
I'll just give up,
Yeah.
or I'll just quit, or I'll just, no big deal. My mom did it."
Yeah. Yeah, and I could truly speak on that myself
Right.
personally because I was that type of person too, and I wasn't always like that. I
Mm-hmm.
always was the person that started, a project and I finished it to the very end. I was
Right.
very committed and
Mm-hmm.
consistent and all of that. But I don't know what happened after marriage life came apart.
Right.
Things just
Yeah, you
changed.
made the choice. It all falls down. What I always believe in
Oh,
life is that everything
yes,
falls down to choices. We can't
yes,
sit back and say, well, why did this happen? Why did that happen? It's like you made the decision to stop or just to end or to pause. It's
right.
just that's what we do. And we just have to make the choice to say, I'm just going to start from scratch. I'm going to get back up on it, dust my shoulders off, and keep moving. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's okay. That
Yeah,
is
that's okay
okay.
too.
But
That's
you but you still
perfectly
got to take
fine.
ownership in the areas that cause you to stop in the first place.
Amen. Take the ownership. That's the best part, is taking ownership. It really
Mhm.
is.
Yeah,
It really is taking that ownership. It really is. I always have to open doors communications with my young adult
that's
children.
awesome, Michelle.
Absolutely. We have to open those
Hmm.
doors. Have more conversations.
Hmm. That's the key
Okay.
thing.
And I and,
Conversations.
and and
Yes.
Michelle, I had to pause myself from time to time because I didn't grow up in the era where it was like, well, I'm gonna tell my mama how I feel. Like, not mine. You gonna do that, you know? And now I noticed that I was very short with my son, my oldest son, and
Hmm.
I have to
Hmm.
still to this day say, Letitia, just stop and listen. I
Mm.
have to train
Mm.
myself now because I didn't grow up with that training because I was never a young child able to express myself.
Yeah,
Even if,
yeah,
like, sometimes he'll say something
that's
that don't
true.
make any sense, but I just let him talk. You know, I
Right,
just
right,
let
right,
him
right,
say what
right.
he has to say. And like, even when he says, like, like today he was about to tell me something. He's like, oh, never mind. I was like, no, tell me, tell. I'm like,
Hmm.
literally, tell me now, tell me, tell me, tell me. I want you to say, and he'll come out and say it because
Hmm.
it's like we just gotta let the kids talk. I think that's the best part of this world. Is like when you let them start the conversation. Just
Hmm.
imagine they become a politician, they see something going wrong in the community, and they're like, "No, we're going to start this conversation now. Children
Hmm.
shouldn't be in school,
Hmm. Hmm.
not getting good lunch or whatever." And it just opened the doors up for conversation that
Hmm. Hmm.
they it all starts from the home because their mom allowed them to talk. Just talk. Let's talk.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's the truth because I know again, ladies, you have to understand there are people that is watching you. So if
Yeah.
you may not have kids, for some of you, you may not even have kids right now,
Yeah.
but you know what? You got people that are still watching every move you make.
That's right.
You got people who are actually recording the conversation that you posted, on social media or
Oh
whether
God,
you
y'all need to. That's one thing I would have to say.
yeah,
Yes, be
go ahead, go
open,
ahead.
but don't air out every single thing
Woo, come
online.
on.
Please stop doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen couples arguing online. I've seen all this stuff. I'm like, ugh.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think there's
Mhm.
always a platform to do things, but online is not the platform to
It's not.
air
It's
out
not.
your dirty laundry. I just don't think it is. I don't think it's
It's not.
appropriate.
It's very
Mhm.
improper. It's just not necessary to do
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And then you have a bigger problem right there because now you got people who don't know your life, who don't know what you do in your house. They're gonna go ahead and put their own personal opinion based on what you typed on
Right.
social media. And then you're
Yeah.
gonna take offense to that, and then you're gonna be depressed about it, and
Yep.
then you be like, I don't know why people hate me so much. I don't know. Da, 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 da. Well, you should never open up your box like that
Yep.
because
That's
some
right.
things are just not meant to be, publicized.
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh, and
know,
also you can't
yeah.
let social media be the judge and jury because they don't know you. They don't know. They don't like. Toronto knows I've
Come
had issues
on.
in my marriage, and y'all never see me talk about it online
Right.
because at the end of the day, the people online is not the judge and the jury. They're just not.
Yeah.
You don't know him. You don't really know me. I could be a
Yeah.
crazy woman out here just beat him up every day, which I'm not. I'm just saying, and I just decide
Yeah.
to air things out. But it's just like the social media is not the judge and the jury. When you let that happen,
Hmm.
let them be the judge and the jury. It's like, well, who you
Yeah.
are. Now you're pleasing them and not yourself.
Yeah. It becomes so intense that eventually they just shut the whole, they just shut themselves down. They're off social media altogether
All
because of
together,
the weight of
it's
what
so
you
sad because
started.
I've seen
It's very
channels like
sad.
really good YouTube channels and like the 100K subscribers and
Hmm.
thousands of
Hmm.
views, and all of a sudden they
Hmm.
break up, and it's just like, dang, y'all was really building something, but it's because y'all became so open and y'all allowed social media to be social media.
Yeah.
It gotten
Yeah.
out of hand. It becomes social media is a monster
It really
if you're
is.
not using it
If you're not using it
right. You
properly and
gotta have
accordingly.
a
Right.
sense of discernment
Hmm.
with that, because even
Hmm.
like people like I see a lot of people online who are in
Hmm.
business, who are celebrities or what have you. They showing their
Sure.
houses, they look showing their cars and neighborhoods.
Sure.
And there was this one lady named Dorit. She's on the Housewives of Beverly Hills. She
Hmm.
just got robbed.
Oh
On her
my.
channel, she had this whole house tour last year, showed her closet, her jewelry, child, everything. So anybody, and I'm sorry that happened to her because the children was
Yes,
in the house
Lord.
when it happened. It was horrible.
Oh,
Um,
no.
they knew exactly where to hit. They took
Way
all
to
her
go.
jewelry,
Yeah.
her bags,
Yeah.
everything. And this is the second time that happened to her. Now, My biggest question is, when are you
Whoa.
gonna learn?
Woo, child.
That's my question. Is when I heard this happen, and it's like, shit, this is the second damn time. Like, girl, posting your stuff and all these things on social media, it's not worth it.
Wow.
What if they shot you and your child, or done shot y'all, but done something worse before they killed?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
in this, and I posted this on social media yesterday. Y'all will never know the layout of my house. I would never do a house tour. I
Right.
would never
Right.
do a live in front of my house and show y'all my backyard and all. No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you never
Mm-hmm.
know who is watching. There are some thirsty
Exactly.
ass people out there,
Yeah.
really, really, who are so desperate to just break in and steal whatever you gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta have
Especially this time of year now with the
exactly,
holidays coming up and so forth and so on, and people are really desperate for to do anything. I mean,
exactly
it's
anything. And it goes
crazy.
back to point number 4. You work in your mouth, but not your action. Okay, you work in
Yeah.
your mouth. Then if you're gonna do all that, hire you some security, honey. Get you some good security system, honey. Have freaking a floating drone come down. I mean, whatever.
You do
Have
what you
armed
gotta
guards
do.
there.
If you
Like,
can afford to talk that much, you can afford to get some
yeah.
security. Okay. Seriously, to back up what you said.
Shoot, armed guards, everything. These people
Wow.
took like, they got in through her children's, like, I guess she homeschools them, so they got into her
Okay.
children's little mini classroom in her house. They broke the window, and mind you, the whole house is 90% glass, so you just walk by and you're like, oh, you taking a shower, oh, you play, you know what I mean? That's one thing I don't like, because we up here in New York, we don't do, I mean, obviously some people do have all glass houses, but what's that?
Yes.
Be careful what you post on. Yes, everything doesn't need to. Yes, because I tell my kids this all the time, Michelle.
Mhm.
Like, being the fact that my business is online, I, I always tell my kids, if somebody approaches you and they're like, "Oh, I know your
Mhm.
mom," no, they don't. They don't know
Mhm.
me. I don't care if you
Mhm.
see them on my live, if you seen them watching my
Mhm.
live, that they don't
Mhm.
know me.
Mhm.
So, because crazy people out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And and those who have became very became famous in doing social media, what have you. You got to pray for their safety too,
Yeah, you
because
have to, because some of them are very reckless.
yeah, some are reckless, and then some, and some are just genuine, loving people, that kind of stuff. But I'm pretty sure they are very well aware of, the people, the crazy folk out there.
Right,
But
right.
I mean, we just, as women, we just got to be careful how we say things, how,
Mm-hmm.
because
How we
people
move
are
and operate. I think we need to
right.
sit and think for a moment and say, wait, 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 wait.
Yeah.
Before I do this, let me think, and let me follow it through in my mind first,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then let me
Mhm.
go. Let me do it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, that's
Mhm.
my process of it all.
Absolutely. We just have to be very, very cautious, very smart. At the end of the day, we just
Mm-hmm.
gotta be very, very smart, ladies, and not just be so anxious to just go ahead and just flaunt or showcase, what you got. A lot of
Right.
people, come on and they showcase stuff and like, oh my God, I just got this Gucci purse and I just that kind of stuff or whatever it is that they, and I'm like, ladies, it's not that big of a deal. Please don't expose yourself like that, because all people see you as is just a money hunter.
Yeah.
You just, he's all about that, and if that's not what you want people to see you as, then you need to change your brand
Yes,
again.
and you just don't want to be a woman of
Starts
just
with you.
yeah, you just don't want to be a woman of substance all the time.
You
I
don't.
mean, obviously, if you
You
like
don't.
nice things, I get it. You like, there's only one type of certain brands I wear, like lotions and things like that. Like, some, if you have
Yeah.
I know some people like, I like Gucci because I like Gucci, and I'm like, well,
Right.
girl, I
Right.
can get
Right.
the same thing, same material at
Yep.
Target, but but that's, I don't want to be so
Right.
judgmental towards those people, even though sometimes I do
Sure.
am that way, because I'm just like, girl, you can put that in something else, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a client that was like that, where she was the Louis Vuitton girl, she was this girl, but was
Mm.
always behind on payments. I'm like, girl, you just had Chanel earrings on, and they were real. Okay, I know some people gonna say, well, they could be knockoffs. No, she's one of those girls. But it's just like, your
Wow.
priorities. When your priorities,
There
like,
you go.
when I see so
Yeah.
talk about lying to yourself, right?
Yep.
When I see women, it gets okay. I don't want to judge the one, but it really pisses me off if you're driving a Range Rover but you live in an apartment.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Understood. Yep. Yeah.
and I'm not trying to say this. Obviously, people have the right to choose how they want to live, and some people like the apartment lifestyle. But if you know you're really asking God for a house,
Mm-hmm.
and you went out there and got a Range Rover, which is a
Mm-hmm.
house on wheels,
Yeah,
where's your
it is.
priorities at? But you
Right.
praying to God for a house every day
You're
on
right.
Sunday.
You're right. You're right.
Something's not right.
It's not right. It's not. Again, it's all about that,
And you
performance,
behind on the rent on top of
pretending.
that.
Hmm.
And that just really grinds my gears. And again, I'm
Yeah.
not judging anything like that. I'm just saying, like, priorities, priorities, priorities. That's
But
why
this
I
is the
wait on a lot of
reality.
things.
So what you're saying is truth. You're not
It don't
judging
make sense.
anything.
It
You
has
just
to make it make sense. That's all I'm saying.
right. Make it make sense.
Hmm.
Exactly. Because we see it all the time. People drive these expensive cars, but yet they're behind their bills, they're behind their
Yeah.
mortgage, or there's some other issues going on in their life or what have you, and they're miserable, but yet they will go ahead and pretend again that they're falsifying their life and acting like everything is great, everything is
And
glorious and
I'm
good.
saying this because I dealt with it personally. I
Yeah.
remember coming home and my husband has a Benz in the driveway. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, I was so freaking angry.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm,
why? First of
mhm,
all, that
mhm.
is a gas guzzler. If we were to get an oil change, $20 for an oil change. I mean, it was already a
Yeah, Benz are
five
expensive.
kids into one vehicle. Basically, that's how it is. Like a child. It's
Mm.
just like sometimes we got to think things through.
We do. We do. And ladies, we got to be careful with that too. You go ahead and spend your money on something that is not really going to serve any
It's
purpose in your
not
life.
of any
It's going to
value.
it's
If you
going to
really look
cause
at it
more
long
pain.
term, that's what I
Right.
do too. If you really look at it long term, 'cause I made decisions where I would purchase things and I'd be like, damn, if I should have just waited because it didn't really fit into the long term goal. Think about that as well. Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ladies, you just got to be mindful of how you talk. That's just the end of the
And how
day.
you think and how
And
you
how you
act. And
think. Exactly.
absolutely. So let's recap. Tonight's topic was take a break on purpose. Okay. Number one, we talk about lying to yourself. Number two,
Mhm.
pretending your life is spotless. Number
Mhm.
three was false advertising your brand. That is you, right? You're
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
brand.
Mhm.
And number four is working your mouth, but not your actions. These are some
Mhm.
great points, Tawanta. We just ask you guys to please, if you got any value out of this, please like, share, and subscribe. Please join us inside of our Sister to Sister Connection
Yes.
community by going to bit.ly/sister to sister connection. And also, we have a summit coming up in December. If you want to be included in the summit, send us an email at sister to sister connection@gmail.com. We would love to have you and bring on women from all walks of life and
Mhm.
talk about different topics, talk about different things. It's going to be fun. It's really,
Mhm.
really, really, really
Mhm.
going to be fun. Michelle says prioritizing your vision and goals. I'm glad, Michelle, you said that because a lot of times we like
Yeah.
there's times where God will reveal something to me, but it will be for something like 5 years from now. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? But that's why we
Mhm.
got to really have that sense of discernment and say, okay, is this the right thing for me now? Or is this something that he wants me to still have in my mind and meditate on and
Yeah.
then eventually
Yeah.
launch later on? So I'm glad you, you,
Mhm.
you brought up that point, Michelle.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. So is there anything you want to close out with, Tawanta?
No, but like I said, ladies, just to start doing that self-evaluation on a daily basis, so you can start taking take that break on purpose, so you can do better and be better
Take a
when the new
mental
year,
break.
because the new year is coming up. It's coming up very
She's here,
soon,
honey. She's here, honey. We don't know what 2022 is going to bring. We didn't
girl.
know
We
what
sure don't know.
2020 was going to bring, child.
Woo,
Listen.
honey.
People
Okay.
started out the gate, and then all of a sudden in March, like, honey,
Okay.
crashed and burned, honey. Okay, we all have. Trust me, but we
Woo.
don't know. So it's better for us to be prepared, right? Prepared,
Yeah.
prepared, prepared, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's so important. So take a break on your purpose, reevaluate who you are, get to know who you are. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
um, think of what would a perfect world look like and be for you, and are you really living that perfect picture of yourself,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's so 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 important. So thank y'all so much for watching.
Thank
Therese,
you.
see us off, love. See us
Yay, we
off. We
love
are
you.
out. We see y'all next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Bye, guys.